Listen on radio, smart speakers, and our free mobile app, WSKO Syracuse. A Cumulus media station, the voice of the Central New York sports fan. The Score, 1260. Welcome to your home for local sports in Syracuse. Outside the Box Score with Mark Rowlands starts right now.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, right here on the Score 1260, your home for local sports in Syracuse. We've got a fun show for you today because it is one of the most fun weekends you can have in this area going on right now in lovely Canastota, New York, the Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend. I will be there this afternoon. I was at the Turning Stone last night for the fights. We're going to break down all the fights that happened last night, including a victory by the local boy, Bryce Mills, out of Liverpool. We'll be talking to Bryce next week, by the way. You're not going to want to miss that. Bryce Mills, I reached out to him last night. Couldn't do the show today. He had a fight last night, so fair. But next week, Bryce Mills will be joining us on the show. I'm very excited to talk to him, talk about what it's like fighting in front of the hometown crowd on a national platform like Showtime. The fights last night were aired on Showtime. They're a Showbox event that they do at the Turning Stone every induction weekend. I'll be there this afternoon, going to the autograph show at Canastota High School and stopping by the museum grounds for some of the ringside lectures. Going to see if I can't grab an interview or two for you guys to play on the show next week as well. Might be playing those on the Man-Child Show with Boy Green throughout the week. And any interview I get will also go up on the Score 1260 YouTube channel, where this is currently being broadcast as well. So be on the lookout for that. They'll be on my Twitter. A lot of content coming from this weekend in Canastota. I'll also be there tomorrow all day for the Parade of Champions and the actual induction ceremony itself. So very fun-filled weekend. Awesome to be there yesterday. I went to the fights last year, went to the Turning Stone all weekend last year, and it's a lot of fun. And the fights last night were great. Couple of, less exciting fights, but a couple of the fights, including that Bryce Mills fight, which I'll get into. That kid is going to be a contender. Watch out. We've got a contender from Liverpool, New York, and you're going to be hearing his name for quite a while. I was so impressed with his fight last night. I've been a lifelong boxing fan, so it's very cool to see someone from around this area, only 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away, Liverpool, someone from this area succeed in an area like boxing. And obviously Syracuse does have a fairly rich boxing history in Central New York, with Billy Backus and Carmen Basilio being from Canastota, hence the location of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. But it's a great weekend. I'm so excited to go back today, so excited to go back tomorrow. Like I said, a lot of content coming your way from the Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend. So be on the lookout for that. We've also got a lot of high school sports to talk about. Teams are currently on their run to the state finals. Some teams from around here losing in heartbreaking fashion in the state championship tournament. Some teams, Baldwinsville Boys Lacrosse, heading to their second straight state finals, trying to take home a state championship. We're going to talk all about that, all about boxing. A lot of things to talk about, and whatever you want to talk about. Phone lines open for the entirety of the show. No guests today. No special guest co-host or anything. I know my buddy Josh Boheim joined me on the show the past 2 weeks. He was also with me on the Man-Child Show yesterday. Jim Wirch taking a little vacation to Pittsburgh this weekend. So your phone calls, greatly appreciated. You can also interact with me in the Twitch chat. That's twitch.tv/box_score_WSKO. You can go to the Score 1260 YouTube channel, make comments there. It'll pop up on my computer here. You can interact with me throughout the show. But if you do want to call in, phone lines will be open the entirety of the show. 315-671-1260. You want to talk boxing, you want to talk high school sports. We got a lot of things we can talk about in the world of sports right now. So phone calls, all show, full hour, 315-671-1260. That's 315-671-1260. We're going to take a quick time out, come back. Phone lines are open. We're going to talk a little boxing when we return here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260.
Heard in a car, call William Matar. I'm William.
Oh boy. Let's see. I think this is the one I want. That's 5 months ago. Never mind. Yes, I know it was on Showtime. Yeah. Headphones are so loud. Jesus.
Let's get ready for an incredible day of country music with a tribute to three of country music's icons, Shania Twain, Keith Urban, and Tim McGraw. All together on one stage at Sharky's Event Center on the newly refurbished under the Bird Motors Pavilion. So rain or shine, Sharky's has you covered. At Sharky's Event Center, you'll feel like you're watching Shania, Keith, and Tim in person. Saturday, June 10th is a date you don't want to miss. Tickets start as low as $15.
Put the links out there.
Go to Sharky's online. Tom Annette, always here when you need him. 24/7 at dwitom.com. Hi, Billy Whitaker here. If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, the time to buy is now. Prices are coming down, and as always, we offer 40-second financing and 1-hour delivery. Billy Whitaker Cars and Trucks, where you're always good to go.
Have you heard about the Upstate Cord Blood Bank? It's a nonprofit organization right here in Syracuse that's really high tech and very big on saving the lives of those with cancer and up to 80 other conditions. If you're expecting a baby, learn how you can provide a life-saving gift of your cord blood to others. It's free, easy, painless, and collected right at delivery. Learn more about the region's only public cord blood center. Visit upstatecordbloodbank.com.
Distracted drivers. We also have whiplash. They offer prescription cars that only a little cash for his finance. That's it. The Stanley Law team works hard to make things right.
Just got this note. Thanks to the team, I'm able to drive again pain-free.
When we work together, we win.
Stanley Law, 215 Burnett Avenue in Syracuse, Watertown, Rochester, Binghamton, Montrose, Oneonta, 1-800-608-3333. StanleyLawBusiness.com.
The Syracuse Mets have transitioned to a cashless stadium experience. For those fans not comfortable using a credit card, they offer a reverse ATM at no cost. The reverse ATM accepts cash and provides fans with a debit card that can be used where credit cards are accepted. The cards cannot be reloaded. However, cashiers will accept multiple cards at the same time. Main cutout across from the customer service desk.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. Cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, right here on the Score 1260, your home for local sports in Syracuse. I want to talk some boxing because I saw some damn good boxing last night, specifically from the local boy, Bryce Mills. Now, I'm assuming some of you have heard of Bryce Mills, currently fighting at a super lightweight division. Stands at 5'8". He's Orthodox. 21 years old, fighting out of Liverpool, New York, born here in Syracuse. Made his debut in 2020. He is 12-1-0 with 4 knockouts. His one loss did come by decision. And he fought last night at the Turning Stone. He was taking on a guy named Jonathan DePina. And DePina, by the way, going into it was 12-1. Both of them had one loss on their record. He usually fights at lightweight. I believe it ended up being a lightweight bout last night. 5'9" out of Boston, Massachusetts. 28 years old, so significantly older than Bryce. And like I said, talk to Bryce. Funnily enough, as I'm talking about him, he just followed me on Instagram. But I talked to Bryce last night, and he's going to be joining us on the show next week. And you're going to hear me talk to someone that you're going to see on Showtime, on HBO, on ESPN, on pay-per-view for years to come. Because this guy is a legitimate contender, in my opinion. From what I saw last night, this guy's got the stuff. He's so fast. So fast. I mean, not just in the hands, but in the footwork. He is absolutely what you like to see out of a lower weight class boxer. The hands are so fast. He's got really great punching power. He had some trouble landing some of those power punches last night. Guy had DePina that he was fighting. A little bit of a reach advantage on him, a little bit taller. You know, not a perfect size matchup for Bryce. So he little trouble landing some of the power punches, but the ones he did land, oh boy. I would not want to be on the wrong end of a Bryce Mills left hook. Because he threw a couple of those last night that were nasty. Absolutely nasty. Currently ranked number 41 in lightweights in the United States, 41 out of 327. That's going to go up. It's just, he's only been fighting for 3 years. Which we say, only been fighting for 3 years. He's 21. He's been fighting professionally since he was 18 years old. This guy has a lot of fights in his future, and he's got a lot of big-time fights in his future. Because, like I said, the footwork I saw, the hand speed I saw, the defense could get a little better, but you see that with a lot of young fighters. They don't exactly know how to defend properly yet. And he'll get there. Because it was good. I'm not going to sit here and say he wasn't, playing good defense. He was. But it'll only get better. And like I said, you see that out of a lot of young fighters. And this guy's 2-3 years younger than me. So there's a lot of time for Bryce Mills to become a really, really good fighter. It was only a 6-round bout last night. Didn't go 10, didn't go 12. 6-round bout. Won all 6 rounds, by the way. DePina didn't take one off of him, and that's the way I scored it. Because I was watching this fight very intently. I was with people last night, just hanging out. I wasn't super invested in every single fight. I watched every fight, but wasn't super invested in every single one of them. This one, I was glued to. Because as soon as they said, fighting out of Liverpool, New York, and he walks out wearing an Aaron Judge jersey, a Yankee hat, with Sinatra playing. This guy lives, breathes, eats New York. And once that New York started playing, I was like, wait a minute. Who do we have here? And I didn't even look at the full card before the fight last night because we had 2 title fights last night. The second one being Ali Ismailov against Charles Foster, who Charles Foster actually fought there last year. I saw Charles Foster fight in the Turning Stone a year ago this week. And Ismailov decisioned him, by the way. It was a unanimous decision. Close unanimous decision, but a unanimous decision nonetheless, handing Charles Foster his first loss on his career. Foster was 22-0 with 12 knockouts heading into that title fight. And 2 title fights last night. Like I said, light heavyweight before that. And it was just a great night. Just a great night of boxing. If you are a boxing fan, I highly recommend checking out the awesome museum. It's not very big. I'm someone who next week I'll be spending 3 days in Cooperstown. So, been to the Baseball Hall of Fame many a time, been to the Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremony a number of times. And Cooperstown, it is not, but there is just something about being in a building with so much history packed into it. Like I said, it's not very big. There's two buildings. You have the main museum, and then over, they have a larger building where induction ceremony has traditionally been held in front of. And in there, by the way, in the other one is the ring from Madison Square Garden. The ring. I don't mean just a ring they used at Madison Square Garden. I mean Ali Frazier. I mean some of the biggest fights in the history of boxing were in this very ring. And it's in there. And it's so cool. You're sitting there. You got a TV playing highlights of Ali Frazier. It's such a cool place to be. And when you're in the actual museum, and they do such a cool thing. The Baseball Hall of Fame has plaques. They've got busts at the NFL Hall of Fame. Every Hall of Fame does their own little different thing in terms of how they commemorate the inductees. The Boxing Hall of Fame it's a metal cast of the fighter's fist, which to me is the coolest one. It does not get much cooler than that. When you're sitting there and looking at an iron cast of Mike Tyson's fist or Muhammad Ali's fist, like that's the hand that dealt so much damage. Because based on whether you're a righty or a lefty, they cast your right or left hand. So it was just being in there and knowing that Ali has walked these grounds. Sugar Ray Leonard has walked these grounds. Tyson, Spinks, Roberto Duran, who's there this weekend, by the way. Mickey Ward, who's there this weekend. Arturo Gatti, who is not there with this weekend. But guys that Floyd Mayweather, who was inducted last year. Roy Jones Jr. The great champions in the history of boxing have all been in this small, unassuming building off the thruway exit, right there in Canastota. If you're a fan of combat sports, specifically boxing, but just combat sports in general, and you haven't made the trip out to Canastota, there's no better weekend to do it than right now, because who knows, you might bump into Roberto Duran when you're around. You might see these guys. Like I said, he's there. He's 40 minutes down the road. Highly, highly recommend it. And I highly recommend checking out Bryce Mills. You can follow him on Instagram if you are a user of Instagram. It's BMILL, then ZZZS. B Mills. BMILLZZZS. That's Bryce Mills. He's got some highlights on there, and you'll see the speed and the power that I'm talking about. And I was guilty a couple years ago of seeing Ryan Garcia highlights on social media and saying, all right, let's calm down. Yeah, he looks great on Instagram. He looks great hitting the speed bag. Let's see him in the ring. Let's see how good this guy really is. And I know he just lost to Gervonta Tank Davis a few weeks ago. Ryan Garcia is legit. And I didn't buy it when I first saw it. I said, this guy, he's a social media boxer. A lot of guys can be accused, people were saying that about Zion Williamson with the dunk highlights. It's like, yeah, this guy looks great on Instagram, but how's he going to look at Duke? How is he going to look for the Pelicans? And when healthy, and not doing some things I'm not going to mention about Zion Williamson right now. When he's healthy, he's tremendous. And from what I've seen of Ryan Garcia, same thing. I remember watching him in a fight a couple years ago. I wasn't familiar, or I was familiar with the name of the guy he was fighting, and I couldn't think of what I knew him from. I was like, yeah, he's this English guy. I I don't think I've seen him fight before, but I could have been wrong. And I was thinking about it, and then they said on the broadcast, 2016 took home the Olympic gold medal. I was like, oh, okay. That's where I know this guy from. He's a gold medal winner in boxing. Garcia handily took him down. And that's when I was convinced. I was like, okay, guys like this can be the real deal. Bryce Mills is the real deal. This is a guy, like you said, you're going to see on Showtime. You're going to see on HBO. You're going to be buying pay-per-views. Seeing Bryce Mills fight for a title within the next couple years. 12-1-0 right now. 4 knockouts. Like I say, he's got the punching power. The knockout number is deceivingly low. But it's a lower weight class, so they tend to have fewer knockouts. And in those 6 rounds I watched last night, so excited to talk to him next week. I've got a million things I want to talk to him about. His training regimen, what's next, who's he trying to go after next, how quickly does he think he can move up in this division? Because that's the thing with boxing right now is not only obviously are there a million weight classes, but there's like 6 sanctioned organizations that all have their own titles. Now, last night we had a battle for the WBO light heavyweight intercontinental belt. That's not the WBA. It's not the WBC. There's a million of them. Too many, in my opinion. That's something that boxing really shot itself in the foot. That's why boxing, in my opinion, isn't as popular as it once was, nor as it should be, because it's too confusing to follow all the different champions. You got, 5 heavyweight champions at one given time. I just want to know who the heavyweight champion is, Gone are the days of everyone knowing who the heavyweight champion is, because there's 5 of them at a time sometimes. And Bryce find a way to work his way up and to be someone that we see for a long time in the world of boxing. So make sure, if you're a fan of this show, if you're a fan of my work, if you're a fan of boxing, make sure to tune in next week when I talk to Bryce, because it's going to be one of the most interesting interviews that I've ever planned on doing. And I'm planning on talking to some other professional boxers today. And I think I'm maybe more excited to talk to Bryce next week and just talk about what it's like being from this area, which does have such a rich boxing history, even more so than just Basilio and Bacchus. But there's so much boxing history in this area. How is he going to live up to it? Is he going to be the next great champion to be from Central New York? I think he could be. I really do. If you've seen him before, you'd probably agree with me. So, had so much fun watching Bryce Mills last night. Had so much fun watching your last night, but specifically him. I don't know if I've ever rooted harder for a person to win a fight than I was rooting for Bryce Mills last night. Absolutely awesome. Take a timeout, come back. A lot more things to talk about. Phone lines open the entirety of the show from now until noon. 315-671-1260 if you want to chime in on the phone lines. Check out the Twitch stream. Check out the YouTube channel if you want to interact with me during the breaks or throughout the show. You'll be able to hear me during the breaks over there as well. We've got a video camera going, so we'll be able to talk the entirety of the show if you check it out over on there. But if not, and you want to call in, talk about whatever it is you might want to talk about. 315-671-1260. That's 315-671-1260. Here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260.
Hey, look, honey, I got you a new favorite shirt.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wait, what's wrong with my old favorite shirt?
I got a great deal on a new residential trash pickup service and cut our bill. So, hello, new favorite.
Someone call into the show. Do something. Come on now. 315-671-1260. Let me talk about the Syracuse Mets today. It's been a while. It's been a while. I should also probably mention who's going into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Probably should have said that. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, right here on the Score 1260, your home for local sports in Syracuse. I actually forgot to mention, should have done this when I was just talking about boxing. Last thing on boxing, who's actually going into the Boxing Hall of Fame this year? We've got Rafael Marquez, Tim Bradley Jr., Carl Frock, Alicia Ashley, Laura Serrano, Seth Abraham, Tim Ryan, Brad Jacobs, Brad Goodman, and Joe Goosen. All of them being inducted this year. Some contributors, some fighters. Rafael Marquez, Tim Bradley Jr. That's a good couple of fighters going in there this year. Specifically, I've always been a big Rafael Marquez guy, so going to be very cool to see them there this weekend. The Grand Marshal for the parade tomorrow, by the way, the one, the only, Flava Flav. That's pretty cool. Gotta admit, that's pretty cool that Flava Flav is going to be the Grand Marshal for the parade. So, really fun weekend planned ahead in Canastota and in Verona at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino. Let's talk about some high school sports. I mentioned Baldwinsville boys lacrosse going on to their second consecutive state final. They beat Pittsford yesterday, 7-6, and it was a really all-around good game from Baldwinsville. They had 7 goals scored by 6 different guys. Ryan Quinn, Dylan Wertheim, Keegan Lynch, Garrett Sutton, Carson Dill, Brady Garcia. Carson Dill, the only one scoring multiple goals. He had 2. So all around, really good performance by the Baldwinsville Bees yesterday as they move on to their second consecutive boys lacrosse state final. Marcellus also moving on, by the way. Different division. They're in the OHSL. Marcellus beat Penn Yan, same score, 7-6, but not nearly as widespread was the scoring because Nick Rayfield had 4 goals all on his own. Chris Doshna throwing in a goal, so did Jimmy Cox and Doran LeClaire. So their 7 goals coming only from the stick of 4 different players. Nick Rayfield, really good game. Had assists thrown in there by other guys as well. Henry Lawrence had 1. Chris Doshna, who I said scored a goal, he had 1. Doran LeClaire had an assist. Then the other 2 coming from Jeffrey Lantry and Adam Rayfield. So 5 assists on the 7 goals. Jamesville DeWitt moving on in boys lacrosse. The local teams doing fairly well in boys lacrosse this year. They win 13-5 over Hanoi Falls Lima. And talk about high scoring. Gannon Kessler, 6 goals and an assist. Samuel Brazel, 4 goals and an assist. So 10 goals coming from 2 different players on Jamesville DeWitt. Eli Goldberg, Aiden Bates, and Mario Strafe also tossing in a goal as well. West Genesee did not fare so well in their quest for a lacrosse title. They lost to Victor 20-9, which 9 usually it's a fairly different effort, or fairly decent effort, I should say. And but their defense could not contain Victor. 6 goals in the first. They were down 6-1 going into the second. 7 more goals for Victor in the second. So in the first half, Victor was already up 13-4, and that spelled doom for West Genesee, giving up 5 goals in the third and then 2 in the fourth. Victor probably not going out there and trying to score that many more goals, but 9 goals put up a good effort in their attempt to win a state championship in lacrosse this year. Here is how the scoring broke down for West Genesee. Zach Ryan had 2 goals. Liam Burns had 2 goals. Nolan Bellotti had 1. Tashale Kelly had 2. Jack Mellon had 2. They're the only ones who scored. An assist going, by the way, to Jack Mellon and Ryan Considine. He had an assist. So only 2 assists on the 9 goals. Typically not the ratio you would love to see. But it was a tough day all around for West Genesee yesterday, as they also lost in girls lacrosse, Garden City beating them 12-6. Goalie Allie Hanlon only had 6 saves and allowed 12 goals. So West Genesee, tough day on the lacrosse front. Skinny Atlas moving on in girls lacrosse, though. 6-5 over Cold Spring Harbor. They improved to 19-1 on the season. They were 9-0 in conference play this year. Julia O'Connor had 3 goals. No assists. Cameron Kellebro had a goal. So did Bella Brogan and Lily Marquardt. Lily Marquardt also had a goal. Moving on in girls lacrosse, Baldwinsville played as well. Not as lucky on the girls' side. They were looking to defend, winning the state title last year, but they lost to Massapequa 12-6. And that's it for the lacrosse highlights. So a lot of lacrosse finals going on right now. Like I said, Baldwinsville boys lacrosse they have already reached their 2nd straight state final, looking to win a state championship in boys lacrosse. I know I'll be pulling for them. It's funny, since I've started doing this show, because I was a varsity athlete around here, and we all have rivals. You know, I obviously root for the Syracuse teams more than the others. The Syracuse City School District teams, or Corcoran, or if there is, if one of the teams like football or basketball is specifically Corcoran, I pull for Corcoran the most. But if not, a lot of the teams are combined, like the baseball team, lacrosse team. They're combined. So I always pull for them the most. But since I've started doing this job, all of a sudden those rivalries I had when I was back in high school, just gone. I just want to see teams around here succeed. CNS was the big one. We specifically in baseball, we never really got along with CNS. And which is funny because a lot of us played summer league with guys that played at CNS. There were a few on my RBI team a couple times. Luke DeZato, Steve Thecke. These are guys, I played summer league ball with, but in high school ball, no. Because they were the top dog. We always wanted to take down the top dog, and back then it was CNS. And those rivalries have just disappeared. I'll root for CNS. I'll root for Beeville, West Hill, Ludden, all of the schools in this area, Liverpool, Central Square. Even if you remember when I was talking to Coach Miola a few weeks ago, uh, just making jokes about Central Square. I don't know what it was. The 1-2-3 C Square. We always thought was very funny. The chant that they would do, in the huddle. You'd get in a huddle and say, "Hey, Cuse on 3, 1-2-3 Cuse." 1-2-3 C Square was always the funniest to all of us. We would always make jokes about it. I have no idea why, but I'll even root for Central Square nowadays. I actually know the Central Square girls lacrosse coach. They didn't have a great season this year, but I was talking to him recently, and he didn't. He was realistic about the outlook of the team. He was like, "Yeah, we're not going to win states or anything, but we might be able to steal a sectional game or two." And I believe they did win in the first round of sectionals. So I even root for those guys now. It's a lot nicer when you can just root for success and not have to worry about, but they're our rivals. No one cares anymore. Even Henniger basketball or Henniger football, because they're our big one from Corcoran, was Henniger. Obviously, the Syracuse City School District rivalries were always pretty intense. And yeah, I mean, we couldn't play them in football on a Friday night. They moved those games to Saturday mornings because of how rowdy it would get at Corcoran. When we were playing, like if they're playing at Corcoran and not over on the north side. So it was those were a lot of fun. But I'll even root for Henniger nowadays. I want teams from around here to succeed, and they are. Baldwinsville, go out and win a state championship. Join the ranks of Skinny Atlas in hockey, West Hill in basketball. West Hill, quite disappointing end to their lacrosse season, by the way. Didn't even really, they didn't get to make a run at states. I mean, they lost in the sectional finals, and that was surprising. I thought West Hill had a legitimately really good shot at winning the championship, but hey, man, them's the breaks. That's sports, Sometimes that's all you can say is, hey, that's sports. But go out and win a state chip, Beeville. I've been pulling for a lot of teams around here to win championships. The women's lacrosse team at SU, the women's rowing team. I want to see it continue. I want to see a lot of success in athletics in this area. And we are seeing a lot of success in athletics in this area. So LeMoyne make a really good run in college baseball. Let's keep it up. I like when teams around here are good. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to come back and sadly talk about a team that isn't very good, the Syracuse Mets. They're back playing. Weird week this week for the Syracuse Mets. We're going to break it down after a timeout here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands. Phone line's still open, 315-671-1260. That's 315-671-1260. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. So you can call in on the phone lines. But if not, we're going to come back. We're going to talk some Syracuse Mets baseball on, funnily enough, your home for Mets baseball, the Score 1260. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, right here on the Score 1260, your home for local sports in Syracuse. Just had a really great conversation during the break. Asked if we wanted to come on the air. He said, no, I just wanted to talk to you. Rob from Baldensville. Just talking about the state of Baldensville sports, and the lacrosse program really is a power in the state right now. And they're going to continue to be moving forward because they've just got such a great support system there and such a great coaching staff. I mean, Matt Wilcox has done a tremendous job. He's already got 100 wins in his career over there, and he's done really, really tremendous work with the boys lacrosse team at Baldensville. And as long as he's there, Baldensville is going to continue to be a power in the state when it comes to boys lacrosse. So thank you, Rob from Baldensville, calling in, said some very nice words to me at the end of the conversation as well. Always appreciated when you call in. Phone lines open, 315-671-1260. Do quickly want to talk about the Syracuse Mets. And, it's tough right now. It's kind of tough to be a Syracuse Mets fan. It's kind of tough to work for the Syracuse Mets. You know, I'm here every, few days. I'm doing the doubleheader tonight. And it's rough out here for the Syracuse Mets. Currently, not really doing well in terms of the standings in the International League. And by not doing well, they're in last place in the International League East. They have the worst record in all of International League baseball, believe it or not. And they're 23-36, but Michael and Evan say this all the time, and I kind of agree with them. I agree with them to a point because this team has had some horrible luck. This team is like a game over 500 when they score 7 runs in a game. So when the offense is going, the pitching isn't going. When the pitching is going, the offense isn't going. It's just a string of, honestly, pretty bad luck. Now, granted, they've won 3 in a row. So I'm saying all this, they've won 3 games in a row. They won last Saturday in Rochester 10-5. They won on Sunday 5-3. Didn't play Tuesday or Wednesday because of this weird air quality thing we had going on. I mean, how bizarre was that? That was wild. I mean, it looked like Mars outside. And because of that, they didn't play Tuesday or Wednesday. Played on Thursday, first game of the series, win 5-2 over Lehigh Valley. I'm sorry, they haven't won 3 in a row. They had won 3 in a row. They lost last night. I forgot what day it was. Today's Saturday, not Friday. I thought yesterday was Saturday all day because I was hosting the Man-Child show, and who knows what day it is anymore, to be honest with you. They lost 9-6 last night. So they're back to their not winning ways. And doubleheader today against Lehigh Valley. Only 5 games in this series, not 6, because one of the games that was canceled was actually canceled. The Tuesday game was postponed. That's being played today. That's game 2. And then the Wednesday game just full out canceled. They're not going to make that game up. So 5-game series, 4:05 first pitch for game 1 tonight. It's Little League night, which they're giving away youth jerseys. I believe it's the black jerseys, which are always a good look. Love those black Mets jerseys. And then game 2, 45 minutes after game 1 ends. There's always a 45-minute break in between 2 games of a doubleheader. Then they play tomorrow as well against Lehigh Valley, 1:05 first pitch. And it's Marvel Superhero Day, which is always a fun one if you want to bring your kids, or if you're like me and just a nerd and you love Marvel superheroes and you saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse on opening weekend and thought it was absolutely tremendous, and you love superheroes and stuff like that. I always think that's a cool night. They're wearing Ant-Man jerseys tomorrow. That's awesome. Who doesn't think that's cool? Ant-Man? Ant-Man's awesome. I like the bug-based superheroes. Ant-Man, the Wasp, Spider-Man, all that stuff. The Tick. Shout out the Tick, DC superhero. But Syracuse Mets, despite the fact they've won 3 out of their last 4, like I said, still in last place overall in the International League. They're currently 19 games back of first in the International League East. That would be the Norfolk Tides, who Syracuse actually just played a couple weeks ago. They're 42-17. Wow. I didn't know that until I just read that they're 42-17. Holy cow, how good is that team? Anyway, you should still go out to the ballpark. I mean, NBT Bank Stadium is beautiful, and I highly recommend going out there since they've made the renovations. Plus, you'll get to see someone who is very good at baseball. A couple guys that are very good at baseball. DJ Stewart's been playing pretty well as of late. But the big one is Ronnie Mauricio, still one of the top prospects in the Mets organization. And he's been hitting over 300 all season long. And you can go and check him out. And he does so many things. It's not even just he's hitting for average, which a lot of guys hit for average. I'm looking at there's a million guys in AAA hitting over 300. I'm actually trying to find Ronnie's full stats right now, but the way the MILB website works is there's no minimum at bats for batting average. There it is. He's hitting 322, 363 on base, and a 533 slugging. He's got 8 home runs and 34 RBIs. And those are star level numbers. He's, doesn't walk a ton, but he's got 9 stolen bases. He struck out 42 times compared to 11 walks. That's why the on base is only 40 points higher than the average. But he's also got 23 doubles, 2 triples. Guy's so much fun to watch. He's playing second base now a lot. Started as a shortstop. The Mets already have a pretty good switch hitting shortstop. So you should go check out Ronnie Mauricio, DJ Stewart, Jalen Davis, Danny Mendick, who's been red hot as of late. All these guys, a lot of fun to watch. And like I said, it's a great ballpark. Go hang out at the 315 Bullpen Bar in left field. Go hang out at the Salt City Deck in right field. Go into the Metropolitan Club. Have some Danny's Steak, some Pavone's Pizza. Absolutely great time at the ballpark. And it looks like, I'll just double check the weather right now. It looks like we're going to have a decent night for it tonight. Oh, yeah, 75 and sunny. By the time first pitch comes around at 4 o'clock, you're not going to want to miss it. Tomorrow going to be great, too. 82 degrees. That's baseball weather, baby. The weather looks like it's starting to turn back around. We had some rain. We had some unbreathable air. Looks like it's starting to turn back around. So maybe get out to the ballpark this weekend. Take the kids. Got Little League night tonight. You got Marvel Superhero Day tomorrow. Then they're on the road for 2 weeks, so you won't have a chance to see them for another 2 weeks. Why not take the kids out to the ballpark? Or just listen right here on the Score 1260, your home for the Syracuse Mets. I'll be doing the doubleheader tonight, so you'll be hearing a lot more of my voice today. One more time out, then we'll come back, wrap things up here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands. If you want to squeeze in a phone call, you still can. 315-671-1260. That's 315-671-1260. One more time out, come back, wrap things up here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, on the Score 1260. And we're back, wrapping up a very fun-filled hour here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Yeah, a little bit of horse racing. Obviously, had a horse racing guy on before the Kentucky Derby. Talked about the Preakness. I gave out the winner in each of those. I'm giving out the winner today because we've got the Belmont Stakes just down there, and Belmont is down there in New York, so technically local. It's in the same state. I don't care what the people say. We're talking about the Belmont. We got 9 horses. Tappet Shoes 20-1, Tappet Trice 3-1, Arcangelo 8-1, National Treasure 5-1, Il Miracolo 30-1, Forte 5-2, Hit Show 10-1, Angel of Empire 7-2, and Red Route 1 15-1. A lot of familiar names there. Tappet Trice, National Treasure, Forte, Angel of Empire, Red Route 1, National Treasure, of course, winning the Kentucky Derby. It's the Preakness. Which one did National Treasure win? National Treasure won one of them. A lot of familiar names. Tappet Trice, like I said. I'm feeling National Treasure. It's going off at 5-1. Pretty good odds. Forte, of course, was the favorite in the Kentucky Derby. Ended up being a late scratch. So it wasn't able to race in the Derby. I actually remember seeing some horse racing people saying if Forte was in the Derby, it would have won it no problem. You can say that all you want. Guess what? It didn't race. So I've never seen this horse race. I've seen National Treasure race. I like National Treasure. I like Angel of Empire, too, going off at 7-2. But if I had to pick one, I would say National Treasure is going to be my pick for the winner. Might do a little trifecta action today on the old Naira Bets app. A little 50-cent trifecta or something. Tappet Trice. Throw that in there. I'd probably go National Treasure, Tappet Trice, Angel of Empire. Those are probably my 3 favorites going into the Belmont Stakes today. Of course, remember to, if you are going to gamble on it, gamble responsibly. It's horse racing. None of us really out there are experts. Maybe you watch a lot of horse racing and maybe you know more about it than I do, but I certainly don't watch a ton of it. I just like to throw a few bucks down on the Triple Crown races, which is what we're going to do today. So make sure to do that. Have a good weekend, everybody. Go see the Syracuse Mets or go down to Canastota for the Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend. That's where I'll be, and bring you more content about that this weekend. Bryce Mills next week. You're not going to want to miss that show. You've been listening to Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, on the Score 1260. Peace.